The Mother Egg. It was night on the main Lemurian landmass, a black night, where billowing dark clouds raced across the sliver of amber moon. The call had gone out, the call of utmost urgency. The high priests came quickly, tightly clutching their ceremonial robes against the wildly blowing wind. They entered the Temple of the Dawn one by one, knowing the seriousness of the call that had summoned them here at this late hour. The council of Tana assembled in the high tower room, seating themselves in their accustomed chairs around the massive circular table carved from a single black volcanic stone, highly polished into a glowing brilliance. Yes, nearly all were present. 13 seats were occupied, that left 3 empty. A low gong filled the tower with its vibrations. Ogmora waited until the sun completely faded away. Yes, Ogmora was still the elder, even though he had served in this capacity for thousands of years, and his powers were finally beginning to weaken. Ogmora's hair was snowy white, his face a crevice of deep wrinkles, his once proud carriage now stooped. Yet his eyes, although sunken, contained a penetrating fiery glow. There was not a doubt that he still maintained much of his power and authority. His will somehow kept his aged form alive. Ogmora was driven to see it through to the end, and tonight he was going to announce to the council that the end was imminent. That is, if there was enough time remaining to explain it all before the impending catastrophe. It could not be transputed nor prevented. Of that he was certain. He had tried everything. By now the others must have surely noticed that 3 of them were missing. Altazar's absence was easily explained. They all knew that he had been sent to Rapa Nui on some urgent council business. Ogmora smiled inwardly at the memory of Altazar. He had always been his favorite, the one whom he had been waiting for to succeed him. How ironic, now that Altazar was fully prepared, it was all to come to an end. That Atlantean woman whom he had been mated with had certainly hastened his growth. Yes, Altazar was his secret experiment, the first to be sent away covertly to the Atlantean temples, the first to marry someone from that other civilization so different from their own. He would have been a fine ruler for all of Lemuria. His own thriving island of Arnhem was proof of that. Well, at least he had managed to spare Altazar from the coming destruction. It had been his secret plan to remove Altazar from danger. Therefore, the finest fruit of the Lemurian civilization would remain alive on this earth to carry on. Ogmora regretted that he could not save that Atlantean woman as well, but sending her off with her husband would have awakened suspicion that something was amiss. Oh well, knowing her people, she would probably manage to return to Atlantis with little suffering. Ogmora now directed his thoughts to the other 2 men who were missing tonight. First there was that innocent fool, Seplik. He saw Seplik's broad, savage face with its flaring nostrils. Seplik was from one of the remote outer islands, the first from there to attend the council. While the people habitated there had missed many of the refinements learned on the mainland. Naive Seplik, who would hereafter be known as the one who put out the heart of the fire, except who will survive to have any memories. Ogmora sat lost in his thoughts, and the council waited patiently and tuned into them. A pang of sadness brought him to the remembrance of the third one absent tonight. Boglor, yes, it was he. He was the seed of this corruption, the one among them with the fatal flaw. Boglor, the second only to himself, the one who had longed for hundreds of years to usurp him. Poor Boglor, who loved power so intensely, he craved it and manipulated until finally it had taken him over and devoured him. His wisdom had been slowly clouded and his judgment distorted as he developed his mad magic in private. Longing not only to control Lemuria, Boglor also secretly planned to make war upon and conquer Atlantis, which he detested. He had long been jealous of the superior Atlantean technology and harbored bitter memories of being rebuffed by their priest scientists, the Makers, when they had refused to share their precious secrets with him. Thus Boglor had pondered and plotted. He could not match Ogmora's immovable willpower. He could not unseat him by ordinary means. So he needed a plan. Boglor was one of the few who knew of the existence of the mother egg, which held all life and balance on Lemuria. He also knew that the mother egg was hidden somewhere within the heart of the giant volcano, Karak-Ua, the sacred mountain of Lemuria. Hence Boglor devised a grand scheme of blackmail, threatening the very existence of Lemuria itself. There was simply no other way to defeat Ogmora. That ancient wily one would never yield his authority unless their entire survival was at stake. So Boglor isolated himself in his dwelling for many months, homing in on the energies of the mother egg until finally he contacted it. Then in his silence he began to see it, faintly at first as if in a haze, a reddish glow through the mists of time. He increased his concentration upon it until slowly it emerged into his vision. At last, after months of one-pointed contact, the picture was clearly focused. The mother egg was a bright ruby crimson egg-shaped crystal, around 14 inches in length. Inside it were fissures causing refractions which sent out intense beams of light. Soon he could pinpoint its resting place within a small cave deep in the crater of Karak-Oan. Folklore now needed a confirmation of his information in order to set his plot against Gomorrah into motion. Hence, he brought Seplik into the plan. Seplik was simple, but he was also ambitious. He practically worshipped Boglor, who had impressed him with displays of his magic. Seplik constantly begged to become his apprentice so that he too could influence people. So Seplik entered the scenario. Has there ever been a time when power did not corrupt? Seplik was told that he was finally to be accepted by Boglor as his disciple. First, however, he had to undergo a test of his commitment. For this initiation, he was to go down deep inside the crater of Karakoa, enter a certain cave, and look upon a red glowing stone. Then he had merely to return to Boglor, who would be waiting for him on the volcano's edge. Seplik readily agreed to undergo this task, and henceforth set off with great excitement. The volcano was belching smoke, and steam filled the air, burning his skin and stinging his nostrils each time that he breathed. Yes, it has been noted that Sablik was simple, but he was also strong and courageous, thus he carried on. Finally, after many severe struggles, Sablik arrived at the heart of the crater. Here, the molten lava bubbled continuously. The air was full of burning cinders with sparks would often alight on Sablik, setting afire his clothes and hair. Shouting out in pain, he beat out the fires and continued on. This Seplik was from such tough stock that he never once considered fleeing from his ordeal. Suddenly Seplik spied the entrance to the cave. It was located exactly as it had been described to him. With great excitement and a growing sense of relief, he entered its forbidden doorway. Instantly, Seplik was surrounded by the most pervading darkness he had ever experienced. Slowly he could make out a brilliant red light emanating from the back of the cave. Cautiously he stepped closer and closer towards it. Then he saw it fully. It was resting in a black stone bedding. Red beams of light streamed forth from it in multiple directions. The mother egg was an oval-shaped crystal in whose depths could be seen the life fluid itself. Seplik was transfixed. He could not move or breathe. He just stood and watched the pulsations of the life force within that egg. The vibrations of a heartbeat coursed through his body, sending a roar through his senses. He began getting very nervous. Maybe it was the heat or maybe it was the lack of air. The sound was getting louder and louder until it was screaming throughout his being. Seplik ran to the egg-shaped crystal, ran to touch it or pick it up or something. This was never new. But when his fingers touched it, Seplik was shocked to discover that it was soft, very soft, gelatinous, and one of his rough fingers pierced the outer membranes of the mother egg, causing a red transparent liquid, a terribly glowing liquid, to slowly ooze out of multiple directions. The mother egg was slowly oozed out of the puncture. Seplik screamed in absolute terror. His scream was drowned out by a terrifying rumble of pain, a thunderous cry from the heart of the volcano itself. Seplik, his eyes frozen in fear, ran from the cave and threw himself into the nearest pool of bubbling molten lava and disappeared, sinking without a trace. At the same time, old Boglor was sitting on the rim of the volcano, deep in meditation, concentrating on the mother egg. Then he saw it. He saw the desecration. He saw their life blood flow away. He saw it slowly dripping out of that wondrous crystal, and in that instant he knew. In that very moment of seeing, his appearance aged thousands of years. Then, when there was little flesh left on that haggard skeleton of a body, Boglor pulled himself weakly to the crater's edge and plummeted down into the raging fires below. Thus it ended for Sablik and Bookborough. You might want to ask me what became of them. After such a destructive act, would they ever be allowed to return to the earth? Well, just to set your curiosity to rest, I will tell you, for I have watched it unfold since the beginning. I will reveal everything so that I may finally forget. Boglor saw the profound error of his ways at the moment of desecration and has long since repented. He is here among us now. Ask me not, who is he? Where is he? That you must recognize yourself. As for poor Seplik, please remember that although he was the instrument of a terrible crime, he had acted from innocence and ignorance. He has returned here many times, finally developing the wisdom that he has long sought. Today Seplik is one of our most devoted servants. Yeah.